What's up, guys? Welcome back to Worth the Wait. I am your host, Cookie Miller, and today we are talking about the importance of protein during your weight loss journey. Now, I know you are probably hearing so much online about how much protein you should eat, when you need to eat your protein, what type of protein sources, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. The information that is out there is probably endless, but what I really want to focus on today is more so the why. Why is this important? And the how, right? How are these different mechanisms within our bodies impacted by whether we have the appropriate amount of protein or we do not? And then how this long term affects our goal to lose weight. So, without further ado, let's get into this episode of Worth the Wait. Protein is crucial for women who are trying to lose weight. It helps maintain and build lean muscle mass, which then boosts metabolism and burns more calories than fat tissue. Protein also plays a key role in regulating hormones that control appetite and satiety, which makes it easier to stick to a healthy eating plan. Then, did you know that protein also helps with hormonal balance? So, it helps to regulate some key hormones that are very important when it comes to weight loss, like insulin, leptin, and ghrelin. Getting a sufficient amount of protein, amongst other things, of course, but getting a sufficient amount of protein can help to improve your blood sugar control. Then it can also help to increase glucagon activity for better fat burning. So you're burning fat more effectively. Improving your leptin sensitivity, which is one of those hormones that we talked about, which helps to reduce your appetite and cravings. And then decreasing ghrelin levels, which helps to minimize hunger and overeating. If ghrelin and leptin sound familiar to you, I believe we talked about this in another episode and I will link it below. But if not, I know for sure that I have a YouTube video that's about sleep and weight loss or weight gain. And in that video, I talk about leptin and ghrelin. So you should definitely check that out. We will leave it in the show notes below. So, why would you want to build muscle, right? We know that protein helps to build muscle, but also why do we need it? Why do we want to build muscle? Maybe you are someone who doesn't want to be bulky or you're really not interested in lifting weights. So, you're trying to understand what is the benefit of even having muscle at all. Well, first of all, muscle tissue is more metabolically active than fat tissue. So, meaning the more muscle on you, the more fat you will burn. And yes, the less muscle you have on you, the less fat you will burn, and likely the longer it will take for you to burn the fat that you do have on you. So, having muscle has some really big benefits. Now, protein is not good just for the muscle growth, but also for the repair and the maintenance of the muscle. So, you need to have protein ongoing, consistently, and in adequate amounts. And when you combine that adequate protein intake with resistance training, it maximizes the muscle building potential, meaning that you are able to build more muscle when you're combining not just eating a sufficient amount of protein, but also resistance training, which a lot of people, when we think of resistance training, can think about only weightlifting, but there are other forms of resistance training. You can use body weight, even some forms of Pilates. These are still things that are encouraging your muscles to work a little bit harder. Having increased muscle mass is going to lead to a higher resting metabolic rate and more calories burned. So, meaning just because you have this extra muscle on you, you're going to burn more calories just literally existing. So now that you understand the importance of protein and how it helps you and why you need to have muscle, now you need to know where the heck you're going to get this protein from. How are you going to eat a sufficient amount of protein? Well, first, I want you to know that incorporating protein into your diet does not always mean eating large portions of meat. There are so many different ways to boost your protein intake, such as adding like cottage cheese or Greek yogurt or legumes, quinoa, protein powder, eggs, just so many things that you can think of. These options are versatile, they're affordable, and they can easily add up to 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal. So let me give you some examples, okay? Cottage cheese has 25 grams of protein per cup. That is so high. That is so high, and I think that's one that gets overlooked quite a bit. So, yes, cottage cheese, 25 grams of protein per cup, and it's very versatile in the sense that you can use it in sweet and in savory dishes. Then you have Greek yogurt, which can have 20 grams of protein per 7 ounces. This can be used for dips, dressings, smoothies. Then you have legumes, which have 15 to 20 grams of protein per cup, and they also are very fiber rich. So not only are you getting your protein intake, but you're also getting your fiber. Then, of course, you have protein powders. Everyone's not the biggest fan of protein powders. I think that if you need to incorporate a protein powder for convenience or just while you adjust to getting your protein in, that is totally fine to do. You just want to make sure that you find a really good quality protein powder that you can use. Those are going to have anywhere between 20 to 30 grams of protein per scoop or per serving, for depending on what type of protein powder it is or what brand it is. Then eggs, I think a lot of people think, oh my gosh, I'm going to eat so many eggs. They have so much protein, but they actually only have 6 grams of protein each. So keep that in mind when you're deciding what your protein source is going to be. And then things like bone broth. Bone broth has approximately 10 grams of protein per cup. And then it's also rich in collagen and other nutrients. And it can be used as a really good base for things like soups or stews. Okay, are you ready? I'm going to give you some hacks to boost your protein intake. These are things, I feel like these are really good. Some of these you may have heard of, but I feel like there's going to be at least two or three out of these eight that I have that you haven't heard of and that you can start to apply. So, one is to add unflavored protein or collagen to your coffee, your tea, or your smoothies. Now, this is one I feel like you've definitely heard this before, right? You can add it to you can add your protein to your coffee in powder form, but you can also, if you have like a pre-mixed protein, you can add it in liquid form. But then also things that we're more accustomed to, like making a protein shake or smoothie. And then tea is one that you may not have thought of, but I think a collagen powder, again, that's unflavored, added to the tea can be just a little bit of a boost in your protein for the day. The next one is to cook your rice, your quinoa, your pasta in chicken, beef, or bone broth instead of plain water. This is such a game changer. I don't know if you're as excited as I am, but I'm over here so excited because when you are cooking your grains in that water, that broth, instead of cooking it in plain water, that means that it's soaking up all of those nutrients, which means that you're getting an added benefit of having a little bit more protein in your serving of rice or pasta or quinoa. Now, this one I haven't tried, but I feel like I saw it online somewhere, which is replacing breadcrumbs with crushed pork rinds. So if you're someone who likes pork rinds, I haven't had pork pork rinds in years, but if you're someone who likes pork rinds or you're someone who just wants that little bit of crunch on your salad, using something like that can help you to get a little bit more protein instead of just having those plain breadcrumbs that you may be accustomed to. Use a protein fortified nut milk in place of regular milk in things like cereal, oatmeal, or baking. Now, going back to the cottage cheese, remember cottage cheese had 25 grams of protein per serving, so very, very high. What you can do is you can actually mix in your cottage cheese into things like mashed potatoes, or even if you're cooking scrambled eggs. It really is not going to change the taste that much as it will give it kind of maybe a little bit of a thicker texture in that sense. So doing something like that can give you such a huge boost in your overall protein intake for the day. Now, this next one you kind of want to think about as like toppings, where you would incorporate things like edamame, hemp seeds, chia seeds into like your salads, your stir fries, really anything that you can think of. You can easily top your meal with these things. Now, think about when you have a dip, right? You may be the type of person that goes out and you buy whatever your favorite dip or salsa or whatever is, but think about making those things at home. You can use a high protein yogurt, like a plain Greek yogurt, or you can even use something like kefir as a base for your dips, for even for some dressings that you want to make and different sauces. I really like to take like plain Greek yogurt and put some, whatever my favorite hot sauce is at the moment, or like one garlic sauce that I stumbled upon a couple weeks ago and I have been buying it like crazy. But mixing something like that with your Greek yogurt, so that way your sauce is not just giving you added calories without also giving you some form of a nutrient benefit. And in this case, it would be the protein benefit that you're getting from the Greek yogurt or even from the kefir. And then sprinkling something like nutritional yeast on popcorn. You can also sprinkle it on roasted veggies. You can put it in pasta, and it'll actually give everything a little bit of a cheesy flavor. If you're someone who's more of a visual learner, I have these recipes that I've actually put into a little document. These were originally given out to my clients when we did a meeting on this topic, but I want to share it with you. So if you're interested in checking out the recipes, I'm sure we will have them linked in the show notes below. But just to give you a little heads up of what they are, there is a black bean and quinoa stuffed bell pepper. There's a chia seed pudding with berries and almonds. There's a creamy white bean and herb dip, which is really good. There are Greek yogurt and herb marinated chicken skewers. So definitely some recipes that you want to check out in case you are having trouble meeting your protein goal. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that this episode has kind of opened your eyes as to why it's important to have the protein, not just having the protein itself and knowing exactly how much you need to have, but understanding why it's important and how it impacts your weight loss journey long term. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Worth the Wait. Remember, if this episode or any of our episodes have helped you, please consider leaving us a 5-star review. You can also take a screenshot of this episode and tag us on IG at Worth the Wait Podcast. We are also on Instagram as at Cookie Miller. I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye.